Hello, so this recording will go over the syllabus questions that you students had to try to answer, after reading the syllabus. And that is a good preparation to understand what's expected in this course and also for the syllabus quiz, even though syllabus quiz will have other questions, I guess. Okay, so let's start with the first question. What are the prerequisites to take this Chem 139 course? The prerequisites are Math 095 or Math 098. Math 095 is an old version, so maybe I shouldn't be here anymore, but for sure Math 098, which is intermediate algebra with a 2.0 or more, right? So you need to have good math skills as far as algebra is concerned. That's the prerequisite. Second question, I intend to pursue Chem 161 after this course. So Chem 61 is the first of the series of three, Chem 162, Chem 163, which are called the general chemistry courses. And so if you want to go into that course, are you in the right class in this one? Yes, this is the prerequisite for Chem 161. So that's a good place to be if you want to pursue with general chemistry. Now, the textbook is expensive. What are my options? And some of you may have heard that already. The options is, if the textbook is too expensive and you do not have financial aid, it's to use what we call the open source textbooks. So when you go into the syllabus module in the Canvas homepage, syllabus module, you will have a page called links to open source textbooks. I have two textbooks there, but I recommend to use the OpenStax Chemistry Atoms First Approach second edition, because I provide the order of reading the sections to match the order of my lecture videos. So what I like most is that the students watch the lecture videos, using the YouTube playlist for each chapter. You have the lecture videos there. And that's what I would like students to do the most, watch all the lecture videos. The textbook is more like, for me, like a supplementary, resource that you can use if you have questions, or if you prefer to read than watch the lecture videos. But I expect that you will watch the lecture videos and will consider that you did. So be aware of that. The OpenStax Chemistry Atom First, second edition is a bit more thorough and deep into the explanations than the required textbook. The Introductory Chemistry, a Foundation by Zumdahl and Lacoste. It's that book is a bit more simpler than the OpenStax. So it's up to you. But I provide the order of reading, and so this is important that you use this because it tells you in which order to read to match, how I organized my lecture videos. So, and it also tells you what you can omit, and there are things that will not be in the order. So that's important to follow this. Okay, next question, unless somebody has a question on that. Question 4, otherwise. I need to remove my hand there, but okay. So I have a graphing calculator, like for example, TI-83 or TI-84 or 84 plus or 83 plus. You may have already those calculators which are graphing, and it's good, you can use that, but be aware that if you continue with Chem 161, the general chemistry series, you will need a scientific calculator to take quizzes and exams, because the graphing calculators will not be authorized. So you may need a scientific calculator anyway. Sorry, I should have shown that first. In my own Chem 139 course here, it's okay if you have a graphing calculator. It should not be a problem for this course, but be aware that if you continue and you may have to have a scientific calculator anyway. In this case, I recommend the scientific calculator TI-30X2S if you need to buy one. You may already have the TI-30X2A, and that will do, even though it's not as intuitive as the TI-30X2S. I like this one because you type things as they are written on paper, so it's more intuitive. And I also have videos to explain how to use it. So, the scientific notation, this is important, and, display mode. So that's the one you should buy if you don't have one. Question 5, I cannot pay for Macmillan Learning Achieve yet, but the homework is already due because there is one due this week, right? Homework 1. But the homework is already due, yes. And what should I do? So you can still register into Macmillan Achieve, even if you're not paying yet. They allow you to do what they call start a free period, something like that. I forgot how it is said, but you can use it, register, have an account, use it, have grades that will be recorded for free for 2 weeks from today, because the course is starting today. So it's the free period is starting today for 2 weeks. After that, you will have to pay. And I think it's $42. I know it's expensive, this plus the calculator and the textbook. Unfortunately, you cannot do without the Achieve account because the homework is there, and that's how you will be graded for homework, and it's 20% of the course grade. So if you are depending on financial aid and it has not arrived after the 2 weeks, contact me so I can ask for an extension, for the free period, so that you can use it more until you have the cash to pay for it. Okay, so the Achieve account will have to be connected to the Canvas account. You have instructions on Canvas for that. In the syllabus modules, there is a page titled the Macmillan Learning Achieve instructions. So please follow that. This will allow the grades to be automatically put into Canvas. So this way your grade on Canvas is updated all the time, as you do the work. Okay, question 6. What will I be graded on? With what percentage? So it's very simple. It's homework, 20%. That's on Achieve. Quizzes on Canvas, 20%. And exams. There is 4 exams in total. So because it's 60% for all exams, it's 15% per exam, right? And the exams are all on 3 chapters, basically. 3 chapters, and we have an exam. So every 3 weeks, I think. So even the last one is on the last 3 chapters. It's not a cumulative final exam, if you will. So that's for exams. Question 7, I spend too much time on my phone, wasting time, watching one thing after another. The temptation was too much. Now the homework and quizzes are due and I'm not ready. Will I get a 0 if I don't take them before the due date? Well, no, I don't do that. I don't give zeros if you are late. And I would not recommend to wait for the last minute to get started, because materials will accumulate very easily, very quickly. So you have to try to be on top of things and not let you fall behind. So you won't get a zero, but you will get penalized by 5% off. It's a flat penalty, which means if you're late by 1 day or 2 days, it's still 5% off. I don't like to do that, but I have to have a penalty to encourage people to do things on time. And the reason why I need you to be doing things on time, it's because I've spread out the amount of material over the weeks, and it's to your benefit if you do things on time. Then it should be manageable this way, right? Otherwise you will get overwhelmed if you are accumulating things late. So better learn self-discipline if you are the type to spend too much time on your phone, for example. Okay, question 8. Will I be proctored during the exams? So no, I do not use a proctoring software. I don't. That means you don't need a webcam. I will not be watching you as you do the exam. So the exams are timed, I don't know, 2 hours. I don't remember exactly how long, but maybe 2 hours, sometimes 3. So half of the exam is to be answered on Canvas like a quiz, and the other half has to be answered on paper and written. I want to see your work on a paper. So make an habit of doing your work properly on paper, so that during the exam, you show your work. Because the reason why I do that is because I want to see how you do the work. This shows if you understand and if you did it yourself. And I give partial credit. If you start well and then at the end you mess up with your answer, I can still give you some points. So this is very important that you show your work. For this, I need to see it on paper. So you don't need a webcam to be seen during the exam. You will have, 2 days to do it. And if, there is a question about that, but if you have an issue on one of the days that there is an exam, you need to let me know in advance. Okay, so we can make an arrangement for when you can take it in advance, or 1 day later, for example. Some people sometimes ask it sooner. So question 9, Zoom meetings or office hours. So I call them interchangeably Zoom meetings or office hours, but that refers to the same thing. So they are only useful if you have a question that you want answered by voice. An email could do the trick. Is it true? I think I won't attend them at all. So, well, yes, an email can sometimes do the trick. And, I've gotten a lot of emails and answered them. And I even answer sometimes with an audio message, using the Canvas email. Otherwise, I cannot do that. So, some students will never come to the office hours, and some will come to a lot of them. It depends on you. I've found that students who come, they find it very helpful, to be able to talk about things. It's usually easier also to explain what you don't understand, and to get help. It's easier if you share a screen and talk about what's going on. So use the Zoom meetings or office hours if you're struggling. This is very important. And so Zoom meetings are happening at a time when I have to help my children or siblings with their schoolwork, or when I have to put them to sleep. What can I do to still benefit from Zoom meetings or office hours? So it may happen that you're not available at the times I have scheduled them, which is most of the time it will be 8 p.m. on Mondays, 3:30 p.m. on Wednesdays, and 8 p.m. on Thursdays. So if you are not available at those times, you can always ask for a one-on-one meeting. You know, by email, you tell me, I need help, but I'm not available during the Zoom meetings. You know, can we meet? Sometimes I'm available right then, and we can do it just at that time, or sometimes we have to schedule it. So we can do that, right? You can ask for specific times. As I said here above, I also answer emails with audio messages when I have a lot to explain, you know, or to answer the question. So make sure you check your emails because sometimes I do give audio messages to help with the homework, even if people have not asked for help. So it is important to check your emails because of that. You may be missing help that has been given. Question 11. My computer doesn't have a working microphone and I don't want to show my face. How I am going to participate in Zoom meetings? Well, you can use the chat, right? There is a chat. So if you look at your Zoom controls, you can see the chat there. So that's one possibility. As I say here, be aware that it will slow down the conversation if you only use the chat, and it can lead to misunderstandings, right? It's not the best option. I strongly recommend that you use a device with a good microphone, and if you want to participate in the office hours. So one way to have a good microphone is to use a phone, right? You know that you can join the Zoom meeting using a phone. And at the same time, join the meeting with a computer if, for example, you want to share a screen, right? You can do both. And I would see you as twice, you know, in my participant list. But that's a way to do it if you want to be able to talk, if you don't have a working microphone on your laptop, for example. About showing your face, I understand you may not want to show your face, even though it's a bonus for others because it helps to communicate and feel connected. But it's true, it's not absolutely necessary because when I have students come to office hours, most of the time we focus on course materials, or I use the whiteboard and explain things there. So it's true that it's not necessary to show our faces. So that should not be a concern. Question 12. I'm doing my homework, but I am stuck at one question. What should I do? So you can contact me by email via the Canvas inbox or directly. What I mean by directly is that, you know, using your student email, you know, your South Seattle email, you can contact me at sandrine.ogde@South Seattle. No, it's not South Seattle, it's seattlecolleges.edu. Sorry. Anyway, use the Canvas inbox. I think it's easier. I'm usually quick at responding. Sometimes if I am at the computer, I will respond right away. I will never let you wait more than a day before I answer. If you have a question about a homework, be sure to say which question from which homework so that, you know, I go to the homework, to your account, and to your question. And then it's going to be easy from there for me to know what's going on. You can also keep your question if you have a lot of questions, for similar problems, for example. You can ask during a Zoom meeting, join a Zoom meeting and ask them. Even if it takes just a few minutes of interactions, right? Don't be afraid to join, even if it's only for less than 5 minutes, right? People have done that and it's fine. Know that there is also help available through tutors, right? You can use the tutoring center. The one that would be most useful for chemistry is the MAST. I have a previous student actually doing tutoring there. So use the tutors if you prefer. Okay, question 13. I am a full-time student. I take 3 5 credits classes this quarter. Each instructor gives us homework like if it was the only course we took. How I am going to manage? Yes, I know. This is challenging, and it's like, in my time, students didn't have to work at the same time than studying, but now a lot of students have to work at the same time. And so, yes, it is challenging. So self-discipline is important. You need to organize your week or days, depending on how, your responsibilities. So have a study schedule and then stick to it. Set time aside for each subject and study small chunks every day. I think it's better to study small chunks than, doing a full day of chemistry and then a full day of biology, or, another full day of math. I think it's easier if you let your brain rest and then, choose another subject, maybe like for 2 hours. It depends on the type of responsibility and constraints you have. So find what works for you and do not procrastinate. You have the course schedule available, so you know in advance, what is going to be the workload. So never wait. If you have time, try to do something in advance, even if you can, because it will always be best. You will be less stressed out if you stay on top of the schedule, right? Because getting behind in this course typically backfires, right? This is accumulating materials pretty fast, and 1 week off, and that's never, I don't know how you can recover from a week off, for example. This is not something you want to happen. So try to stay on top of things, it's best. Question 14. An exam is scheduled on a day when I have to work and when I usually don't have time to study at all on these days. I know some of you have to work or take care of family members, or have responsibilities like that. And you may not be able to be available for the day I schedule the exam. If this happens, you need to let me know in advance, as soon as you know, and we can do some arrangements. So as I said earlier, I can open the exam sooner if you are ready to take it sooner, or later if you need more time. But this is possible, it's flexible. But you need to have a good excuse and email me, of course. This won't happen if you don't ask. I need to be aware, right? Question 15. I saw that exams and quizzes are timed, and that's freaking me out. Yes, quizzes typically are timed 60 minutes. Exams, it's around 2 hours, depends. And so I actually have a learning disability or anxiety. So who should I talk to about this? So if this is really a problem and that makes you not perform as well because you're so stressed out about the time, you may talk to the access services. So access services is the new name for the disability services, right? So contact the access services and you may get an accommodation. So you would get a letter of accommodation from these access services, and then from there, using that letter of accommodation, then I can give you more time. For example, if time is what makes you anxious, or whatever else you need. Yeah, that makes me think that if you have any kind of disability or anxiety and need some accommodations, please go to the access services and have this documented, and then I will receive a letter of accommodation and I will accommodate accordingly. Okay, so tell me about it, and you know, go to the access services. Question 16. In Canvas, I have to introduce myself and tell the class one thing about me, and I hate to do that. Can I just focus on chemistry and tell why I take this class? Yes, of course. As I say here, this is not meant to be intrusive. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable because I'm asking you to say one thing about you. You can keep it professional, right? It doesn't have to divulge more than you want to say. Question 17. I rarely check my emails. You know, I'm a Generation Z, and email is an old way to communicate. So I'm probably going to miss some announcements, but that's okay. I can always keep track of what's going on in Canvas. Is this the case? Well, yes and no, mostly no. Announcements, emails, and videos are created and published on Canvas. So yes, if you keep track of what's going on in Canvas, you should be aware, at the condition that you pay attention to, you know, the fact that you got a new announcement. What I ask you by making the most of Canvas module, I ask you to update your notifications, and that's a very important thing to do. Update your notification to be notified immediately or at least once a day for announcements, conversation messages, which are emails. So this is important because I do write personal emails on top of class emails. And submission comments, which are the comments I will write to your quizzes or exams. So if you want to learn from your mistake, you know, and then read the feedback I give you, you want to have the notification turned on for that. This is very important. It may seem like a minor thing, but this is really how the communication will really happen between us, right? If you are notified when something happens, when I'm, you know, telling you something. So this is why I also like that people add an email address that they check more often than the seattlecolleges.edu address. If you have an email address that you like to check more easily, then enter that in the Canvas settings or profile, and then send your notifications to that email address. This way, you know, you will not miss out on any communication from me. This is important because I've noticed sometimes I've provided help to students and, you know, they don't seem to check to know, which is a pity because I spend time on helping and it seems to go nowhere. So this is a pity, right? So make sure you are aware of what's going on and do those things I advise here at the beginning of the quarter. Okay, question 18. What does attendance mean in an online course? Yes, because this is an asynchronous online course, which means we won't meet regularly unless you come to the Zoom meetings. And the Zoom meetings are not mandatory, which means, you know, some students may never, you know, connect with me this way. So what does attendance means? Simply login to Canvas is not considered attending the class. And this is important here at the beginning of the quarter as we decide, you know, who has to be dropped or not. So just logging to Canvas is not enough. You will need to be actively and academically engaged and submit assignments. That's what it means to attend in an online class. So that means for you submitting your introduce yourself to me, introduce yourself to the class, take the syllabus quiz, and you know, also do the homework one. You know, get your Achieve account and start working on homework one. All of this will mean you are attending the class. So be aware of that. Question 19. I am very tempted to cheat since no one will watch what I do, right? I will not be watch you as you take the exam. So I will ask a classmate the answers to an assignment like homework, quiz, or exam, or just copy them and just copy them as my own answers. What will be the consequences? So there are consequences, and I had to, you know, do what I was warning students I would do in this case. I don't like to do that, but you and the person you copied from will get a 0 for the exam or quiz in question. And that hurts the grade a lot. So please don't do that. If cheating continues, you may get a 0 for the course grade and fail. So that's the consequences for the grade and the course. A report of the incident will be sent to the Dean of Students, and they may file the report in your permanent record or take further disciplinary action, such as suspension or expulsion from the college. Well, usually when students are caught cheating, you know, they have a bad grade and they don't do it again because it's really not worth it. And I want to emphasize that anyway, cheating is not in your best interest, right? Because this is a vicious cycle that will require you to keep cheating more and more. So you don't want to get started in that vicious loop. This is not a viable option if you want to learn background knowledge to understand future courses, right? Because if you're not learning what you are supposed to learn in this course, then you will face the same problem in the next course where you will be expected to know some things, and if you don't, then you will feel like cheating again. And at some point it will catch you. There's no other way around this. So don't get started in that bad, you know, way of doing things. You want to feel good about yourself, and cheating is going to rob you of that opportunity. So please don't do that. This is not the way to go. If you want to really understand future courses, you need to you know, learn the knowledge in that course, in this course, and then it will be you know, easier as you pursue chemistry, for example, right? So this is meant to prepare you for general chemistry. Okay, that's it. So do you have questions? Please do not hesitate